So that kind of brings me to the question as to like, I guess a lot of people are going to indulge in their sugars, they're going to indulge in their desserts and all of these other things. But I think the holidays, a lot of people start feeling even more stressed. And at
Yeah.
least here in the US right now, we are, experiencing a big spike in COVID. So
Yeah.
not only has it been a stressful year, but I think you're adding the stress of the holidays on top of it too.
Yeah.
So what are some dishes that people normally have around the holidays time that they can eat or maybe do a little extra to help combat this stress and anxiety?
Absolutely.
Extra love. Extra love.
Extra
Extra,
love.
extra love in the holidays. So I'll start with dessert because I happen to know that many of us love dessert. But here's what I've done with dessert. I've tried to figure out ways that you can have something like you usually have a rich decadent chocolate mousse, right? But you can also make a rich decadent chocolate mousse with creamy avocado, fresh avocado, healthy fat right there, rich in magnesium, helps anxiety. You can add to that super ripe bananas, um, natural sweetness. You're not adding extra stuff to it. The actual ripened bananas are even better because they're soft and mushy and they whip up well with the avocado. And I use dark natural cacao powder because it's rich in antioxidants and cacao flavonols, good for your brain. So 3 ingredients and whip it up in a blender or your food processor. It actually whips up like a chocolate mousse. And to that, I usually top it with, some fresh, colorful berries. I add coconut cream. There's another rich ingredient that you can have, a good, something that's good. And like a sprinkle of macadamia nuts. So you can make it the most beautiful dessert that you want. And it actually, you wouldn't know the difference. I've had people not know the difference. So
Really?
there's a good dessert idea right there. Another one is switching out and making banana ice cream. So, make it with bananas, whip it up. The recipe is actually in the book. And I like to make it a chocolate flavor, or I like to serve it as like a vanilla ice cream made only with bananas. Okay, because the trick there is super ripe. You freeze them. When you freeze the little pieces of bananas that you've chopped up and you whip them up, it kind of fluffs up like ice cream. And then you just have to let it set.
That
So
sounds
you
so
can
good.
think about the holidays and having like a whole tray of all the little toppings that you like to put on, say, vanilla ice cream, but your actual base is made with fruit. And that's it. So, you can also make a chocolate flavor with that. You can also, switch it out with some additional things. Then I like to do things like, say, breakfast, right? Breakfast in the holidays. That's where we're going to have a more indulgent lunch or dinner. Why not go light on the breakfast? So something like make ahead chia pudding, chia seeds rich in protein and fiber. Coconut milk is the other ingredient. And my trick with this is chia seeds are actually a great source of short chain omega-3s called ALA. And the same, you get the long chain, the other omega-3s from, say, salmon, right? But here's my trick. When you actually add a pinch, and follow me on this, a little bit of turmeric with a tiny pinch of black pepper to your pudding, okay? You won't actually taste it, trust me on this. It makes the short chain omega-3s be converted to the type that is good for us. So chia seeds contain that. Add in a tiny bit of turmeric, make it ahead. Simple recipe so that, breakfast you go light. You just have that filling, nutritious, fiber-filled chia pudding, and you can top it with blueberries, you can top it with cinnamon, you can put chopped nuts in it, and then indulge in, whatever you're doing the rest of the day, while still building in healthy things at every step of the way, so that, let me put it, it's almost like a 50-50 rule. It's sort of like I'm gonna take care, I'm gonna make sure there's a good salad on the table. I'm going to make sure there's some good side dishes as well, and eat the things that I want to. So there's a sense of balance. I feel that by building in ingredients like that, you targeting your stress, you are reducing your emotional stress by knowing that you're going in with a plan.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you're going to end up feeling, I hope, a little bit less stressed at the end of it.
Now, are there certain holiday foods that help, I guess, trigger the stress and anxiety as well.
Yeah, so this is hard, right? Because the added sugars drive stress, artificial sweeteners drive stress, processed vegetable oils drive stress, and gluten have been associated with sort of that worsening stress and anxiety. Some people. So I would say, rather than trying to have diet soda, just try to try to stay away from the artificial sweeteners. Cook with healthy olive oil or avocado oil, those types of oils, if you can. And then, I guess what hearing, Chauncey, what you said about your liking sweets and stuff, what I would say to that is, offset that with some other healthy things that you're doing, because I feel like that's going to be just important to keeping a sense of balance.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that because I do have a sweet tooth and my mom makes fun of me all the time. She's like, all you do is eat sweets. And I'm just like, I love it. I do. So to hear those actually alternatives, like the chocolate mousse and the banana ice cream, first of all, I love bananas. So like almost cried when you said that. So honestly, like the idea that I can have alternatives for my desserts would be great. So I don't have to feel like I'm cheating myself. I'm also taking care of my body.
You're taking care of yourself in a good way.
Yeah.
And that's the balance, right? Because the cheat food shouldn't be a food that's bad for your brain. So just think about adding in stuff that's good and think about it that way. But the other neat trick is that leafy greens, right? I know
I love
like roll their eyes, like I do too. But some of my patients will be like, she's telling me to eat salad again. But here's the thing, leafy greens, right? They have an ingredient in them, a nutrient in them that offsets cravings. So, another good reason to have a green salad, they call thylakoids, and they in leafy greens. So the greener the better. And, just make sure you at all those meals have a nice green salad with lots of colors, bell peppers, different, celery, all sorts of good, yummy stuff that is there so that you are including nutrients like that in whichever meal you're having.
Heather, that's all you.
I know, salads. Right? I am because I had told her, like
you can steam the greens too.
I mean, I can steam them. I love salad. I am a salad eater. I am the ridiculous person who will go to the restaurant and pay for like a $20 salad.
I've seen it. I've seen it so many times.
I love salad, but it's also because like I am gluten free, and I do notice that when I have things like almonds, carrots, kale, arugula, that kind of stuff, my body just feels better. I feel like I digest things better. It doesn't feel like
it better.
I feel like that's the thing. I feel better.
Like I feel like my mind's better. It's clearer.
It's clear. There's less brain fog.
Well, absolutely. That and the energy and just you move better, you feel better, your brain's better. And I think if you just, like we all said, it's like if you're self-aware enough, Chauncey and I always talk about self-aware on this show, or being self-aware. I think it's one of those things. It's just noticing that, what you're eating and how that makes you feel. Like, I mean, my sister's a big fast food person, and she loves herself some McDonald's. And I'm like, I have gotten to the point where I can't even eat the French fries anymore because I'm just like, oh my God, this is killing my insides.
Your body's kind of gotten used to a different dietary pattern, and it turns out that I hear you. It turns out that fast food French fries have sugar in them, and you don't taste them. You don't taste it, but they've spent. The reason is they make them hyper palatable. And what that means is we can't put them down. We always buy the biggest size. And when we buy that biggest size, it's hard to put them down. They spend research and development dollars on this so that they make it that way for us. So, there are just, there are these choices that we have to make. And I think what you're saying though, Heather, is, your body has now gotten used to different kinds of foods. And I will work with some clients around, how do we work away from the candy bar to that super dark extra chocolate, and because it has these health benefits. And as they they follow that journey and follow that path. Maybe in between there's, a scoop of banana ice cream along that pathway. So in other words, they're moving that sweet tooth to really including more natural fruit like sugar, instead of refined sugar, but the sugar from actual fruit, which is a natural source. And they'll actually end up saying to me, I now only eat a little square of chocolate, and I have maybe a piece of a clementine or an orange slice, fresh fruit, and I feel great. And it's sort of what you're saying, Heather, because your body adjusts and gets used to almost a different set point of what it's used to, and then it doesn't like the flavor of the French fry or whatever it was. And that, I think that happens to people. I've seen it. So
that's good to know.
That's
You can work your way back.
I can start over, but honestly, like my parents, I've always said, eat for your body, nurture your body by the food that
Absolutely.
you eat. And then especially like your mental health, it helps with the food that you're eating. And honestly, like, of course, you listen to your parents, but you're just like, okay, I'll do it for a couple of weeks, and then you go back to your old habits. And literally your book came like right on time, because I was literally feeling very lethargic and just like, ugh, because I was just, I wasn't really eating as I should have been eating, and like reading your book has really like reframed my mind, like especially like, with the whole like shelter in place, you eat whatever's in the house because you're home at all times. And then with the holidays coming up, like I know that's like, a thing for people, that we're going to eat more because we're home and all the great foods around the holidays. But then also like, after the holidays, like what do we do? Like, like,
well, I think
what can
when
we
you
do?
have too much love, right? When you give yourself too much
right, exactly,
love.
exactly. Well, but here's the thing. Like I'm planning this this series called the "This Is Your Brain on Food" holiday for the holidays, and it's going to be some classes that we do in December. But it's all about preparing, to enjoy the holidays, but starting ahead and planning for January, because rather than feeling, because when you work in sort of mental health as I do, when people are feeling distraught and feeling regretful and feeling yucky in January, it's not helping our mental state. It's not helping our emotional state. In the far Northeast, it's darker, it's colder. People are feeling worse. They're not getting enough light. Why not we start now? And we have a bit of a plan on board so that we enjoy, but we also have some balance in that enjoyment. And it's about having fun and embracing the things that we love, but also avoiding certain things that we know are just going to topple that that balance for us. And so my tips about that are really the stuff we talked about: having that mindset, having, practicing mindfulness, including healthy foods every single day. Even at one meal, if that's what you can do, or going light on breakfast. If you're going to indulge with lots of, things that you like later on, go light on breakfast, but make it a healthy choice. Make it a choice that has some good ingredients in it. And I would say mindfulness is a big part of this. Gratitude is a big part of this. Body intelligence, is a big part of it. So if something is not making you feel good, then put down the second glass of wine. If it's not making your body feel good, switch to something else, rather than feel physiologically not well the next day, or just uncomfortable or inflamed or bloated, or however it might be. So I would say just pay attention to body intelligence, switch out things that you might be doing, be innovative, have the banana ice cream, switch out to the cleaner cocktail, have that glass of water, make sure you're hydrated, enjoy coffee, but have it early in the day, have, so that it doesn't affect your sleep, and be mindful of what you're adding to your coffee, because that also impacts mood. It in fact impacts anxiety. And look for the little hidden things like artificial sweeteners where you don't know they're hidden, because that could be worsening your anxiety as well over the holidays. So I'd say go in with a plan, and that's what we're hoping to do when we talk to people.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you do give yourself just a little bit too much love during the holidays, you can always use, January to kick off like the promise to yourself of being more self-aware, of being more mindful about what you're feeding your body, and use all the tips that we've already talked about here, because not only is it just good for the holidays, You can use it in your everyday life. You don't have to just use it during the holidays. So that's awesome on top of it. Now, you did mention this class or this thing that you're putting together. Can you please tell us more?
Sure. So I've gotten a lot of requests, and I feel blessed by this, that people are enjoying this work and they want more of it. We've gotten a lot of requests to do consultations and this kind of work. But what we felt, I spoke to my team, and we felt that having some live classes to prep for the holidays, to talk our way through, why should we pay attention to our gut health? What are the things we can be adding into our diet? So I will have 3 live classes in December. It's going to be advertised in the next 10 days. And half of it will be sort of an informal lecture kind of discussion, and then live questions and answers. So if you come to my class, you can either enter these ahead of time or ask them live. And that's often what people want to know. They just want to know these little things that they've done or have struggled with that they can find a fix for, or based on my experience, something that we can offer. And again, the thinking was similarly to what we've talked about, is how can we go into the holidays enjoying the holidays, not feeling less stressed by the stress of the holidays. Eating is one of them, planning for how we eat, but still having fun is another. So that was the concept behind it. And I hope that people will be interested and will sign up. And we'll have the details and the fees and all of that online.
I know. I was like, definitely tell us where we need to go to sign up for all of that stuff. But on top of the class, the book. I mean, I know a lot of people are insert book again, right? Chauncey's there with the book itself. A lot of people are not really quite sure, when you pick up a book, something like this, that a lot of it's medical terms or, this and that. Now, Chauncey and I can tell you from experience, it's an entertaining book. Our parents have read it, we're reading, or we've already read it. We've already had discussions with our parents about it. So if you're interested in this book, who should be buying it? What do you address in it? Because I know each chapter is a little bit different, and it does not have to be read consecutively in order to understand it. So tell us just a little bit about what you can find in the book.
Thanks so much, Heather. So the book is actually a guide, and is intended to be a guide for anyone who wants to embrace better mental well-being. It's not about carrying a diagnosis or fitting into a category. It's really about embracing your mental well-being through using something in your kitchen, through using something right in front of you because you're eating and preparing meals or deciding on nutrition. It's broken down into different diagnoses, but here's the thing, not everyone fits into a box. Someone with OCD may be anxious, someone with ADHD may be depressed. So rather than thinking about it that way, like you said, maybe read the chapter that appeals to you because you have some of those things you're struggling with. Maybe it's the chapter on anxiety, or maybe it's the chapter on some, problems with focus. Maybe it's an older person who is thinking, I really want to make sure that I'm eating for my better cognitive health. I would say, understand from the first chapters, the gut-brain romance is how the book is set up. And then we'll break it down into diagnoses. The most important things I would share is that every single chapter has a long list of foods to embrace, which I love because people hate to feel they have to give up stuff. And I like them to know there's many more things they can add in, and then a shorter list of things to avoid, the hidden things that you don't realize are worsening your symptoms. And then chapter 11 is all about recipes that match the different conditions, but you can mix and match those too. If you're plant-based, you can replace the salmon with a cauliflower steak. It's meant to be user-friendly, and I hope is written in a way that is easy to read, that people can kind of follow.
Definitely. Do you have a favorite chapter? Just like,
yeah, I was going to ask the same question.
My favorite chapter is actually the recipe chapter, and I'll tell you why. It was the hardest chapter for me. And it was the hardest chapter because as a chef, I was driving myself crazy trying to get the right recipes until I realized I had to take myself back to the good old days where I couldn't cook. And I had to think to myself, I had to start somewhere. I can't be tossing soufflés in this book. I really want to be able to have people just get in the kitchen and start to make some simple things with brain healthy foods. And I also like that because it has, my acronym BRAIN Foods. It has how to set up your kitchen, the list of things like, where do I get foods rich in vitamin D, or where are these nutrients from, magnesium rich foods. And I really tried to put it together in a user-friendly way, which is a guide for people to say, hey, how can I put this information together? How can I really just start taking care of my mental well-being this way? And I think it's important right now because we're heading to the holiday season, but we don't know what's to come. And why not fortify our mental health? Because that's something we can do. It's within our control, and that's where I hope people will take insights from the book.
Honestly, like I'm known for making, just like pasta or like, like simple dishes, like things I can, get away with. And I believe I make a really good pasta. Any type of pasta, I got you. But your recipes and the way to lay out your kitchen like made me feel like an actual in my 30s adult, and not like a 21-year-old out of college anymore. Like I was like, I can make this. I have my little recipes open. I have my little cutting board, and I was like making these little nut pieces that you have in your book. And I was like, I'm so proud of myself. So thank you. Awesome. So thank you for making me an adult. And like, honestly, if you cannot cook whatsoever, please get this book. Not because it also helps with your like, helping with your mental health, your gut health, but it teaches you how to cook like an adult and prepare yourself to be an adult, because takeout food's not gonna be around forever, okay? And we all have to learn how to cook. And I learned how to cook this past month. So thank you.
It's good for you. I got to throw, because I'm a nerd, I'll say this. Studies have actually, very large studies showed that when we cook our meals at home, we consume fewer calories.
That is so true.
And we consume fewer calories even if we're not following a strict diet. So even if you're not trying to say cut corners with what you're doing or follow a special diet, we actually consume fewer calories. So there's a lot to be said for home cooking. I'm not saying don't go out and have a nice, evening out or two, but, learning those basic skills. I'm so delighted you said that, Chauncey, because that's exactly what I'm hoping people will take away. It's not a chore. It's something you can embrace. Like, listen, I can get myself set up. It can be fun. I can be organized. And guess what? It does not have to take the whole day. You can meal prep. You can have your, certain things done ahead of time. It's all just about kind of getting a little bit organized in the kitchen and then balancing it up with everything else you're doing. And what I wanted the brain boosting ingredients, and I wanted to put in spices. So people knew there was a sugar-free, calorie-free, easy way to just flavor things up and make it super simple. So someone like yourself, Chauncey, can say, I can go out, I can do that. When it's technically not a cookbook, and I hope maybe, if my book does well, maybe I could, write a cookbook, because a cookbook is sort of a different project, right? What I wanted with this book is to take those recipes and get people started, like just work on your mental health, guys, because it's easy to do. We can do it together, and these are simple steps that we can take, including, making a salad that you like or whatever it might be. Just embrace it and have fun with it, because I didn't know how to cook, but I then found it fun and I found it creative, and I wanted to share that with people. So I was there once, and I know the feeling.
And we appreciate that, because Chauncey and I are currently there. We are right there. We're doing it together. There's definitely some texts and some calls back and forth like, hey, did you know you could do this?
Did you know that a crock pot can be plugged in?
You
can end up with this food.
No idea.
Okay, so where can people find your book currently, and where can people find a little bit more information about the classes when you announce?
Yes, so please follow us on Instagram and social media, which is at Dr. Uma Naidoo, but I'll spell it at DrUmaNaidoo. That's where we put out all our announcements. You'll hear everything, but also subscribe at my website, because you'll get our newsletter, announcements, and you can sign up for the classes there. That's umanaidoomd.com. And please subscribe so you keep in touch with us, and that way you'll be updated all the time when we have new cool things coming out. And the book is available both on the website and online, wherever books are sold. And support your local bookstores if you can, because I know times have been hard.
Yes, definitely. Is there anything else you feel like we've left out that you want to say?
I think we've covered it all, because I think what was important in this discussion, honestly, Chauncey and Heather, was that we remember this year has been hard and it's been a challenge in many ways. So let's embrace the holidays. Let's bring joy to the holidays and do it in a positive way with food, rather than being afraid of too many of this or too many of that. Let's just go in with our eyes open, have a good plan, and enjoy it. And in January, like reset and say, hey, what are we going to do for 2021 for our better brain health and our better health overall?
I love that,
awesome.
because we need to have that
Completely
kind
agree.
of mindset for 2021.
Preach. It's the total truth.
It was so great talking to you today. You have
It
no idea. Like
always is.
you're literally one of my favorite people. Like I told Heather after I had my talk with you, I was like, Heather, you have to wait. You just can't wait. Like this is gonna be great. But honestly, like it's such a blessing to have you on here. We really appreciate
Thank you.
for
I
joining
really feel the
show.
same way about you ladies. I
Definitely.
read all your Instagram stuff. Love it. I love the messages you're putting out in the world. And it's so aligned. And it really has been a pleasure always.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for watching another episode of the So She Slay Show. We definitely have more coming up, so make sure you stay tuned.
Bye.